In today's video, I am going to be breaking down a 60-point game that Steph Curry recently had last season and some of the things that he did that allowed him to be able to score 60 points. These are 5 tips that Steph Curry uses to be able to score so easily in the NBA. Really quickly, if you want to be able to shoot the ball from farther away, make sure to go check out my shooting workout that is down in the description below. Okay, so right here, he's on the fast break. He's coming down in essentially a one-on-one situation. This defender could and should have probably been in the key. However, he's obviously watching one of the best three-point shooters in the world so that this pass doesn't happen out to that player, Klay Thompson. So, what happens here? So, at this point, Steph Curry has a full head of steam, and what does he do right here? This is very important, and that is he is making body contact early so that now this defender gets pushed back onto his heels and is at a disadvantage. See, as the offensive player, we want to make body contact first before the defender makes contact with us. If the defender makes contact with us first, we are at the disadvantage. As the offensive player, if we make contact first, we are at the advantage. And because of that contact right there, that created enough of a gap so that Steph Curry was able to get that layup. But this now leads into point number 2. And that is when he goes up, he's going up with 2 hands. As you've seen, there was some contact with this hand onto the arm of Steph Curry. Let me rewind that and zoom in just a bit. So going on with the contact right there, while you may say it might have hit the ball, even if it did, and never hit the arms, by having 2 hands on the ball, it is making it even harder to be able to strip that ball from Steph Curry. And Steph Curry was then able to finish with the inside hand layup and won. Yes, he's happy. This is actually a really good angle for that same exact move, that contact right there, and that 2 hands, fantastic. And the inside hand layup, he could have went left hand, but it was just easier in the situation he was in to go inside hand layup because his chest was pointing roughly towards the baseline/sideline. Now, watch what Steph Curry does right here. Now, keep in mind that the play that Steph Curry runs after this screen was most likely drawn up by his coach. A lot of off-ball movement is drawn up by coaches, but certain plays, for example, this one right here, he slipped the screen, but instead of slipping to the basket, he popped out to the 3-point line. If we replay this right here, what did he see? Well, he had peripheral vision seeing what both of these defenders were doing, and he noticed that this man, his man, was going to start hedging or at least trying to potentially do some kind of a blitz onto Kuminga. Because of this, he slipped that screen, and yes, they both doubled Kuminga, which then allowed Steph Curry to pop out to the 3-point line, moving off ball. You always want to move off ball. Any chance you get. If you have the opportunity to move off ball to get to an open spot on the court, you do it. He's a wet 3-point shooter, one of the greatest of all time. Actually, he is the greatest shooter of all time. And that is because he moves off ball extremely well to find open spots at the 3-point line. Going on with the theme of moving off ball, we can see that here as well. But instead of it going for a 3-point shot, he cuts off ball. This is a play that I've ran myself. This is part of my 5-out offense. So if you want some 5-out plays, make sure to check those out down in the description below. But 4-out, 1-in, after you get a cutter from the 5-out, you get the ball into the low post, and then the weak side cutter or weak side wing cuts first, as we see right here. This will allow you to create a lot of opportunities for yourself to score. In this case, it was an and 1, but if it wasn't for him cutting off ball here, obviously the play probably dictates that he does move off ball, but he is known for moving off ball extremely well, and this is why. This is what gets you a ton of points. Now, this play goes on for a little bit of time, but this is actually very important. So, what we see Steph Curry do right here, of course he's using a staggered screen that has an ending of a dribble handoff. After he attacks, this is a great point right here, but this is not exactly what I'm wanting to talk about on this clip or in this video, but that is he keeps his shoulders low. That gives him leverage and the ability to get past those defenders. At this point, he's gotten past this man. There's a gap here, so there's not many places he can go. a lot of younger players, and I'm not talking about NBA players, but a lot of like 12, 13, 14, 15-year-olds, as soon as they get into a situation where they're essentially double teamed right here, they will pick up the ball and it makes it worse off for themselves. But instead, what does he do? He keeps his dribble alive. He continues behind the backboard. Now, while you may say, why go behind the backboard at all? Well, it gives you a lot of passing angles out of this situation. So if you had a weak side cutter, he could have easily hit him, because look at the heads of these defenders. They are not looking at any players who are over here, if there was any. Specifically, these three defenders, they're all looking in this direction, which means that any backdoor cutter would be wide open if their main guy was not paying attention to them. But this is not just the only point to this. Keep your dribble alive until you get to the other side of the court. You can make a pass, or you can do exactly what Steph Curry did, which is to take that mid-range shot. And Steph Curry is, again, the best shooter of all time. Now, while this will actually disagree with a lot of older coaches, early three-point shots are actually beneficial. And before you hate me in the comment section below, look at the rebounders that we have potentials for right now. That's not even including the fact that there's this guy who could crash the boards, this guy who could crash the boards, a guy who's already down there in good position. Early possession, 17 seconds left on the shot clock. We can see that right there. And what does Steph Curry do? He pulls that shot. If you are a wet shooter, he also gets that and one. But if you are a wet shooter like Steph Curry and your coach allows you to take these types of shots, they are massively beneficial if you can actually get them hit. And now going on to my last point. You have to understand how screens work, and you have to understand what your defender is trying to do to stop you from scoring or passing off of a screen and roll. And that is right here. We have Steph Curry getting screened. He uses that screen, but watch what his defender is trying to do. His defender's leg is right there, trying to fight his way through that screen, not allowing Steph Curry to have his way. And Steph Curry was able to then curl around. This is extremely important. Any defender who tries to fight his way through a screen, you need to curl in, as Steph Curry did right here. The reason why this is a fact is because now, guess who's in jail? Guess who's behind Steph Curry? Guess who's no longer playing defense on Steph Curry? And now you are in a 2-on-1 situation, which then allows you to have your way with that defender. And because Steph Curry is so fast at shooting, he's able to get that floater off. So if you're a coach, make sure to go check out my 5-out plays. You will find that specific play I talked about earlier in that book. But really quickly, and that's not my complete guide, I do have a 5-out playbook that is in my description below. And make sure, if you are a player, to check out my shooting workout that is down in the description too. That will help you, really help you with your distance in your shot. And I hope that everyone likes today's video and helps you become a better basketball player. If it does, hit that like button and subscribe, and I'll see you guys again in my next video.